Let's take a look at what's inside this mystery yarn and book box. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to today's vlog, another episode of these book and yarn boxes that I've been opening this year. Actually, I think I've been doing the Woolberry one a little bit longer than just this past year because they did their seasonal book boxes a little while ago, but this is the Book Society box that they've been doing for the majority of 2025. And today we're going to be opening one of these boxes. I am a little bit behind, so this is the April box, but I still don't know what the book even is. It's still a mystery to me. I don't know what the yarn looks like. I don't know what goodies are included. And so I think this will still be really fun to open, share with you, and hopefully if you are considering whether or not you want to buy any future Woolberry book boxes, that this gives you kind of an idea on Bethany's style as far as the things that she curates for the boxes, what kind of books she likes, what her yarn looks like when it is inspired by a book and doesn't have strict parameters to it, I guess. So hopefully you can get a sense for what this kind of book box is, and you can decide whether or not you want to buy one in the future. I know that Bethany is doing Book Society boxes in the year 2026 as well. So that's really exciting if this is something that you're interested in. I've done a couple of these book and yarn mystery boxes before, and Woolberry Fiber Co. definitely has a different feel than Yarnaceous Fibers. And so it's fun to experience both of them and kind of compare and contrast. Editing Emily here. I mentioned this later on in the video, but while I was in the midst of filming this vlog, Woolberry Fiber Co. announced that they are no longer going to be dyeing yarn at all. And so all of the clubs that they were doing for 2026 have ended after February, and that means that this Book Society box that I have been working on, it was every other month in 2025. It was going to be every month in 2026. That's been disbanded. I don't know if I should keep doing some of these vlogs since you will not be able to purchase any Woolberry yarn. Though it's not like she would have extras anyway, so I don't know. Do you still want to see book and yarn content even if the yarn is not available? Should I truncate it and make it really, short footage to kind of compile all of the boxes I haven't gotten to yet? A little bit bummed, kind of a lot of bit bummed. But just let me know what you think. We'll talk about this a little bit later in the video, but I wanted to mention it here because when I was filming my introduction in December, before I had my baby, I was really excited that this was going to be going on for the whole year of 2026. And now it's not. FYI. So let's break into this box and take a look at what's inside. Our book, whatever this is. Oh, it's got a cute dog bookmark and it's a hardback. A couple other goodies. Oh, the yarn itself. We're trying out a few different views of my office. It is still a work in progress, as you can tell by the floor. But let me show you what pages these packages will be opened on. If you're not familiar with this style of book box, at least for Bethany's of Woolberry Fiber Co., we don't know what the book is, but everything inside the box is inspired by the book that Bethany chose. And on these packages, there are page numbers written so that you know on what page to open those packages. And you'll find that whatever is on that page in the book somehow is connected to or has inspired the package itself. So it's a really fun way to kind of gamify the process of reading this book. Make it a really fun way to gift yourself a few curated goodies. So this is good for someone who is open to mystery, who is open to trying something new, who doesn't really know what's coming in the package, kind of like a countdown calendar might be. If you're not a mystery person, or if you don't like collecting these random goodies and you really want to know what's in your package, then this might not be for you. So we have the book itself. We'll open that first, but let's look at these packages. First, we have page 52, this flat package. Then the yarn, which will be so fun to see, 144. Then this, heavy package, it's pretty sturdy, on 237. And then on page 270, we've got the last package. So they're a bit spread out, though there's a couple in the 200s towards the end of the book. We'll have to see what this book is, how many pages are in it, and what it's about, because I have no idea. Super cute bookmark. It's from Copper and Print. So let's open this up and find out what book we're reading. Gosh, I'm struggle. Okay. How to Age Disgracefully. Okay, I feel like I may have heard this title before, but I really have no idea what this is about. It's by Claire Pooley. Cute cover though, love it. That pink. Let's find out about this book. All right, so this book is following Daphne, who is turning 70, feels a little lonely. She likes flying under the radar because it sounds like she may have some secrets going on. She's not so sure if she wants to join a social club, but she has no friends, so she feels like she needs to branch out a little bit. She meets a very interesting cast of characters, and they all kind of band together to save the social club when it's on the brink of being shut down. Sounds like we have some non-senior citizens as part of this found family type of group too. So this sounds like it's going to be a really fun and funny book. Probably a little bit heartfelt as we get to know each of these characters and see how they bond. I think this will be a fun read. It feels like a chunky book, but I think it's just the pages are pretty thick. It is about 330 pages, so not a super long read. I'm gonna look and see if I can get it from my library as an audiobook because I know I will consume it a lot faster that way. And that's just my preferred way that I like to read books is via audio. So I'm gonna look and see if this is available, if that's something I can pick up or not. Otherwise, I am going to dive right in and get started and maybe make it to page 52 to open our first package today, but I'm not going to stress it. We'll see how far I get in this book. Okay, so library is no luck. The fastest audiobook line of all the library cards I've accumulated is 10 weeks. So that's not going to work. I'm going to have to read this physically, which will be okay. I think this will be a fun, easy read. So let's jump right into it. If you're wondering why I have so many library cards, it's because I've moved around quite a lot. I've had a couple of my library cards expire and I can't renew them because it's been long enough since I've lived there, but some library cards are still active. And so that's been really nice to have a few options for holds. But I feel like the longer I live in one spot, the fewer library cards I'll be able to maintain, unfortunately. But it's nice to have some options. All right, so it has been a minute. I have had my baby, but I am now ready to tackle this book. I was really lucky. Was I lucky? I put in a hold for the audiobook and for the ebook just in case it came in faster, and the audiobook has become available, so I'm gonna be able to tackle this book pretty quickly. I just, haven't gotten to this book yet, and I filmed my intro in December right before I had this baby, so it's been a minute, but I am excited to get into this. It looks like a hefty book, but it's only an 8-hour audiobook. I think we're gonna get through it pretty quick today. I've got errands to run, I want to go on a walk, and so I'll get lots of listening time. And I just noticed there's some knitting on the back cover, so I'm excited to see who knits in this book. So let's get right into it.
Her name, said Aunt. Look, it says Maggie Thatcher. Who would do that to a dog? Daphne laughed so hard that she spilled some of the whiskey she was holding into her saucer. She picked the saucer up and emptied it straight into her mouth. She saw Lydia staring at her. Might as well cut out the middleman, she said with a wink. I presume Pauline's a fan of the Iron Lady, said Lydia. That figures, said Aunt. But we can change her name, right? How about Marilyn Monroe? I vote for Helen Mirren, said Anna. She's a fabulous example of how to age gracefully. Very aspirational. Where's the fun in aging gracefully, said Daphne. Personally, I intend to age as disgracefully as possible. Well, you're making a fabulous start, said Aunt, before he could stop himself.
Hello, I am back. I've done some errands and baby is sleeping, which is great. And I am about 2 hours into this 8-hour audiobook, so I'm making really good progress. I have no idea what page I am on in here though, because none of the chapters have numbers. They just have the perspective that it's from, which, I guess this perspective is really helpful. I do appreciate that, but I wish there were chapter numbers so it was easier to find which chapter I'm on. You can tell the type is pretty big, which is why it's only an 8-hour audiobook, even though it is like 300 pages. Yeah, 331 pages if you include the author's note, which would normally be like a 10-hour audiobook. Again, big script. I need to figure out exactly how far along in this book I am to see if it's time to open a package or not. I'm definitely past page 52 because I took an audio recording of it because I thought it was hilarious. It talked about aging disgracefully, which is the name of the book. How far along am I? Okay, I have finished around page 85 now. So a little update on this book. I honestly had no idea what this book would be about other than old people. And I got the impression that at least the main character was maybe a convict or had like a harried past. I'm not quite sure, but let's read the synopsis. Okay, this describes her as having a checkered past, so we haven't gotten details about that, but basically she wants to find a social club, so she joins a social club. There's an interesting cast of characters, and we get to know the leader of the club, who's a recent hire for the community center, a couple other members of the club. There's a teenage dad that we also hear about, not part of the social club, but he gets kind of roped in to the shenanigans of this book. And basically you're following these characters as they are trying to make friends, trying to find a place in the world, especially as a couple of them are elderly and are kind of missing part of their identity. They're trying to figure out where they can belong. This definitely feels like a found family type of a story, and I don't really know where it's going. It kind of feels slice of life-y. I think the main plot is going to be this community center doesn't have a lot of funding. This is where they have their social club, and this is where the teenage dad, Ziggy, has his daughter in daycare, in state-funded daycare. And after an accident where part of the roof collapses onto an elderly person, a little ridiculous, but this person dies, the roof has collapsed, and they need funding to either fix up the community center or rebuild it. And the city council is thinking about just demolishing the building and doing something else with that land. And so to save this daycare, to save the social club, I think they're going to band together as like a motley crew of sorts and maybe fundraise or figure out a way to save the community center. And they will grow closer throughout the process. So that's my guess on where this plot is going. It's not nearly as morbid as you would think. It's got a very witty, dry sense of humor, like a British comedy tends to. And the person who died, her name was Pauline. I don't know why her name is stuck in my brain, but she was very rude. And so the employee who was running this social group in her head was like, oh, like, I'm so sick of her, like, she has something coming for her kind of thing. And then the ceiling falls down on her. She dies, not from the ceiling, apparently she had a stroke. But anyway, the timing was impressive. And this is just the level of ridiculous, silly, funny that this book is. It's nothing too crazy outlandish, but some comedic timing, and some funny moments. You jump between different perspectives. So like I said, Ziggy, the teenage dad. You've got Art, who is an elderly man. As part of the social group, you've got Daphne, who is the elderly woman that you're following. And you've got, what's her name? And you've got Lydia, who is a recent hire by this community center to run this social group. So I think in general, this is a silly, goofy time, but I think it's gonna have some heartfelt moments throughout. But let's open the first package for page 52. Cute. It's a patch to go on fabric. I have no idea how I would use this iron-on patch, but it's really cute. And I think this is not the type of dog that is in this book. I mean, you can see on the cover. It's this scruffy old girl. But they're talking about, should they rename her because her name is Maggie Thatcher? So they're throwing out some names, and I think that's what has inspired this iron-on patch, the doggy. This is by the company Melissus. It's in French, of course. Yeah, I can't read that. If you can read who that company is, that's the company that made this iron-on patch. Cute. Oh my gosh. It looks like a beagle or something. So let's keep reading. We have a ways to go before we reach the next package, which is actually the yarn at page 144. And then the other two packages are in the 200s. So that'll be a ways. But I need to go on a walk, and I have a little bit more errands to run later on today. I got to do some grocery shopping. So I think we'll get some good progress on this later. Right, good morning. I am about halfway through this book. So I wanted to do a little update on everything going on. Chaos, honestly. And this book in general hasn't felt like a ton of chaos. So it's just really funny that in this moment, halfway through the book, everything is falling apart. So in an effort to save the community center, a lot of our characters are banding together to help out with the nativity play. There's a daycare and a senior citizens club. The senior citizens are helping the daycare at this community center do this nativity. And they're trying to use this show as an opportunity to convince the council to leave the community center, to invest more money in it, to help maintain it. And at this moment, we're seeing everything fall apart, like I said. So Lydia is the one who's running the senior citizen group. She's concerned her husband's having an affair, and you see a slideshow picture of, oh my gosh, how to organize my thoughts about all of this. One of our characters has been accused of stealing a lot of things, and the dog started biting someone, and someone's affair was made very public. And what else has happened? Oh, someone is maybe transporting illegal goods. Ziggy, our teenage father, has been roped into doing illegal things, and he didn't realize quite how illegal it was. He feels compelled to do so to keep his family safe, and he realizes at this event just how deep he has gotten in. And it feels like Daphne is going to be the character to kind of bring everyone together and keep everyone on track and kind of sort things out. So I'm really excited about that. I am really liking Daphne as a character. She is just very spunky. She is dauntless. She is very self-assured. And I'm excited to see what she does for this group, because that feels like where the most weight of the story is in how Daphne is moving the plot along and is maybe going to direct traffic, if that makes sense. Other main characters that we've got, we do actually have a side character. We don't get her perspective, but she is a knitter. Her name is Ruby. So that is a fun little cameo to throw in there, though again, we don't get a lot of her. We also hear about William, who was a paparazzo back in his day, hence why someone's affair has been made public on accident, but he was kind of private investigator, like taking photos of this affair in action. So we've got those two, and then we've got Ziggy's perspective, the teenage dad. We've got Lydia, who's running the senior group and feels like her family's falling apart. We've got Art, who is guilty of some things. And we've got Daphne, who has a sordid past. We get little inklings of. I'm excited to hear more about that. Out of all these characters, I would say, yeah, Daphne is my favorite so far. I don't like Lydia. She is being very obtuse about her husband and what he's doing, and she's blaming herself for it. And it's just bothering me a lot. So we'll see, I guess, how things change now that it kind of feels like the climax of the story. Well, maybe not the climax, but a big turning point in the story for all of these characters' plot arcs is happening right at this halfway mark. So I'm interested to see where the rest of this book goes. But I wanted to show that Skein of Yarn I opened last night, Channel Your Power. And this is when Daphne is trying to convince Lydia to channel her power, to be more assertive, to have more authority, and kind of claim that for herself. With that, I'm gonna take my daughter to preschool. I'm gonna go on a walk with my son, and we'll get some more reading done. I'm really hoping I can finish this book today. Back from my walk, and we are ready to open the next package. I am loving Daphne's character. I love her backstory. We really don't get a lot yet. I'm really hoping we get more information later on, but I love her spunk. I love her self-assuredness, and I love how she is interacting with these characters. A little bit blunt and brusque sometimes, but in general, well-meaning, I would say. She tells it like it is. I really appreciate her as a character. At this point in the story, we actually get to see her realizing how her brusqueness, how her trying to solve problems is also harming her maybe friends. Like, she's not really ever had friends, and she's starting to get this found family. So we're seeing how she's understanding more of the nuance of how her actions are impacting others, and also feeling sorry for that and trying to apologize, which I really, really love seeing this character growth. She is especially not got along with Art very well, and we're seeing their relationship change over time a little bit. They are trying to win a lump sum of money to help finance this community center, to renovate it and keep it open. And so in doing so, they take the dog that used to belong to Pauline, the one who died. They've been passing Margaret Thatcher around the friend group, and they are submitting her to a competition, I think to be on maybe like a dog training reality show or something of that variety. And in trying to get the producers to vote them on to continue on, Daphne reveals a secret that Art has revealed to her. And that has really hurt Art's feelings, even if she did it with the intention to get the dog further in the competition, to get the money, to be able to help the community center. It still has consequences for those that she maybe cares about. Love seeing that growth. So we are seeing her write a letter. So I'm wondering if this is some kind of stationery maybe in this package, but this is page 237. Let's find out. Sorry, you can see there's kind of like a glare here. My screen protector broke on my phone and I haven't gotten it replaced yet. So it's kind of reflecting the light a little bit weird in the camera. Aha, it is stationery. Oh, look at that cute notebook. Fun pink edges. This is from Idlewood Co. 160-page notepad. Cute. The paper itself looks like a very pale pink. So fun. Okay, we are getting really close to the end of this book. I'm really excited to see what this last package is and to hear about how everything kind of wraps up. I like that I get to listen to my audiobook while I'm taking care of my baby because he doesn't have an opinion yet, though he does spit up on me while I'm listening to my audiobook. That's life of a newborn, I guess. My 5-year-old will not let me listen to audiobooks around her. Ever. It's always her music. We are working on that, especially because we'll have to share once my son is a little bit older. But for now, when I'm just with my son, I can listen to my audiobooks and make some good progress. Really? Yeah. You kicking? Yeah. Ooh.
I loved the idea of older people who refuse to age gracefully or to play by the rules, and I had a vision of a minibus, the kind that you see every day taking groups of kids or old people on day trips, being pulled over on the motorway. I imagined a policewoman looking for one particular escaped felon, but everyone on that bus offloading their guilty consciences and confessing to some heinous misdemeanor. That scene became the prologue to this novel. I then spent the next year having a great deal of fun working out who these passengers were and what they'd all been up to. I hope you had as much fun listening to it.
I'm excited to work on this. Maybe I will include my footage of working on this at the very end of the video. I have finished listening to the audiobook, and so I want to tell you my thoughts about it. How to Age Disgracefully by Claire Pooley. I enjoyed this book. I think in general, this is just like a cozy general fiction. Found family is always a winner, and having elderly British humor thrown in makes this a winner for sure. I feel like this book can appeal to a wide range of people, and I don't know, let me know if this is not your jam, but I can't imagine anyone who would not at least find this an enjoyable read, even if it's not their favorite. So let me know if you feel like this book is not for you, but I feel like in general, almost everyone would find this at least an enjoyable read, even if it's not their most favorite. I ended up rating this a 4.5 star, which was more than I thought just going into it. Honestly, I didn't have any expectations, but like I said, this is just, in general, a feel-good book. It's fun seeing how this motley crew of characters get along or don't get along and how they kind of navigate their new friendships. I especially love Daphne. I mentioned it before, but she was by far my favorite character. Honestly, I could have loved this book even more if we had more of a focus of Daphne. And we did hear what her sordid past was not as juicy as I was hoping. I mean, honestly, it was a realistic juicy because I actually know someone who was in a similar circumstance as her. Anyway, I'm not gonna spoil it. And I think that's something that is true for the majority of this book, that while some things may sound absurd, they're also totally within the realm of normal, if that makes sense. Like someone who's stealing a lot of things that can fit in their pocket, you know, like lots of little trinkets and whatnot. Someone, yarn bombing some statues within the realm of possibility, right? It's not totally absurd. And there's a lot of books with this sense of humor that are absurd, like Finley Donovan or whatnot, and they're still enjoyable. But I like that this was more realistic from an absurdity standpoint. I felt like I really knew these characters and saw all their flaws, saw their humanness, and could totally see this being 100% real, like a real life story. And I enjoyed that. Some people like the absurdity more because of the sense of humor, but I like the realisticness of this. I just wish we could have gotten more of Daphne's story because she was by far my favorite. If she had been the only perspective we saw and then everyone else was through her eyes, I think I might have enjoyed this more, though I did like the variety of getting the story through a couple different other perspectives in this friend group. I wish that we got everybody's perspective because we got like half of their perspectives. We didn't get a William perspective or an Anna or a Ruby or the other main characters, and their stories were just as interesting. We have a knitter who would yarn bomb things, but she also wasn't particularly skilled. It was very artistic. We have William, who was a paparazzo in his olden days, and he helped kind of find out about Lydia's husband's affair, you know, tracking him down and taking photo evidence, etc. And then we have Ruby, who has gone through 5 husbands? 6 husbands? They have all died before her. Not suspicious at all. And so I would have loved to hear more from their perspectives if we were going to get multiple perspectives. I think I would have loved either just Daphne or everybody, but that might have been too many perspectives too. So I'm not sure how that would have played out. What I love about Daphne's character is her confidence in tackling problems, and she's actually really good at giving advice. She's very reasonable. Surprisingly, I really liked Daphne as a character, but we also got to see some growth as she learned to trust and rely on her friends a little bit more. Not entirely, because that's not her personality, but she learned that she can have some people that are important to her in her life, and that growth that we saw in her was beautiful. I really did not like Lydia's character, and that didn't change throughout the book. Even towards the very end, where they are trying to seek revenge on her husband and set him up for a really crappy time, she was still saying, oh, well, like, his affair was partly my fault too. No, it wasn't, girl. And the way that this was written just felt very two-dimensional for her character. It didn't feel nuanced or dynamic like I would want from a character who has that perspective about their relationship falling apart. So because it was so two-dimensional, I didn't really sympathize with her perspective. And I also really loved how the story began. The prologue was seeing all these characters on a minibus traveling, and you get to that scene again at the very end of the book and you finally understand what's going on because they're all guilty of something. And so I really liked how full circle that was. Like I said, I feel like this book would generally appeal to almost everyone, but I would definitely recommend this to someone who likes elderly British humor, who likes found family, who likes a wholesome story with a nice conclusion where things work out for all of these characters in some way or fashion. They all come together and support one another in their individual struggles as well as in their big trial of this community center threatening to be torn down. So let me know if you've read this book and what your thoughts were. I have not ever heard of this author or this book before, and so I'm really interested to read more by Claire Pooley. As far as this box goes, this yarn is so pretty. It's got an undertone of like a tan pink type of color and some fun speckles of pinks, blues, even yellows and greens thrown in there a little bit. This patch, adorable. I don't know where I would put it, but I also don't collect patches. That would be really fun. Maybe if I had like a tote bag. That's actually a really great idea. So I think I might pick a tote bag that I can attach a patch to. I might have 1 or 2 other patches I've collected over the years, and maybe that would be fun to showcase. Notepad could always use more stationery. I love stationery. I'm a stationery girl. And I think I'm gonna get working on this macrame kit pretty soon here. And I actually have a bunch of plants up they're still in the nursery because that's where my office craft space used to be, but I want to move them down here and I need to repot some things. So this would be great to have a home for one of my plants. It looks like the macrame is like purple, which is so fun. I love purple. So that's great. That's perfect for me. Got this cute dog bookmark as well from Copper and Print. My big hang up about this is that I was hoping to catch up on all of these Woolberry Fiber Co. book boxes, this Book Society box, but Bethany just announced while I was working on this video that she is no longer going to be doing these. She is canceling the subscriptions after February, and I'm really sad about it. Totally valid for her to make whatever choice she feels like is best for her family, for her business, yada yada. But do you want to see me open these boxes, especially because Woolberry Fiber Co. is not even going to be selling yarn anymore? Let me know down below. Maybe I will do like a really truncated vlog where I open all the other boxes. I would love to do a vlog where I do something with the yarn. So I'm wondering, do you want to see me open the boxes the yarn comes in, or do you want me to just show all the yarn when I'm all done? I'm such a completionist. So it's first of all a bummer that the subscription ended in February of 2026. Second of all, not having videos for all of them. But let me know what you want to see and if it's worth seeing more. I do really like the fact that I get these books that I may not have heard of before, and that I get to read them and review them and open packages. Like, I think it's still fun, even if you're not ever gonna purchase a box like this from Woolberry Fiber Co., because she's not gonna sell them anymore. I don't know if you find value in that. So just let me know down below what you think and what you would want to see from me, if it's worth it for you. But I do wanna say thank you so much for being here on this channel and for watching my vlogs. I love sharing my book and yarn content, probably the most. And so I really want that type of content to find the people here on the internet that share those loves with me. So if you like this type of content and want to see more, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification down below to be notified every time I post a new video. Make sure to check out all of my bookish content, all my yarny content, and everything in between and combined. And until next time, happy reading and happy making. Bye!